You guys, you are not ready for this. You are not ready for this. I can smile. I can smile. I can also frown a little bit. It's a little bit sensitive. But hey, I actually have mouth movements. I have emotions now, guys. Show the fun face, brother. It doesn't work. I've gotten a few upgrades to my model, or well, Fire Eagle has given me a few upgrades to my model, so you can see just how unexpressive my face is now. Some of the things aren't working. We tried to get them to work, but I just did not have enough time before stream to set it up. But maybe next stream, we'll have some of our toggles ready. Hey. It's a little weird. I need to adjust to this. I'm not used to seeing so much emotion in my white blob's face. But anyways, the main thing that we're actually doing here today is one, we're learning Fast API because that's something that I want to use instead of Flask API. And more importantly, we're remaking some parts of JEISIN, right? We're not refactoring Project JEISIN just yet, but I'm making a version for myself that I can easily go in and develop, make changes to, and overall just get more stuff done for JEISIN before those changes actually... Holy shit, why is this so loud? Make some more changes that's easier to integrate before they actually find their way into Project JEISIN, right? Because I've been pretty stagnant on the progress of JEISIN so far, mainly because of Project JEISIN, right? I feel like things need to be released and shown off there before I can actually make any sort of videos or whatever, or show them off on actual JEISIN. So yeah. Wait, since when did they make chatbots have their own role? What chatbots? You mean the Twitch chatbots or the Discord chatbots? I don't know any of the Discord chatbots. Where's the shirt? Guys, the toggles will come next time. The toggles will come next time. I just didn't have enough time to set up the item scenes before stream today. Also, I will sound a little bit different. I don't know why I am a little bit sick today. I'm always getting fucking sick, I swear, man. My throat hasn't been feeling the best lately. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that this basement that I'm in is cold as shit. I keep telling my parents to stop opening the windows in the basement, but they're so insistent because they think the air quality in the basement is just bad. Like, lethally bad. And I'm just like, it's not lethally bad. It is worse, but I have a literal air quality meter right next to me, and it's perfectly fine. But they insist on continuously opening the fucking windows, so every time I come down here on a new day, I'm freezing in like 10 degrees. Wait, right now you live in the basement? Well, my setup is in the basement, yeah. I am a true basement dweller. I live in my parents' basement. I am one of them. No sunlight Andy. Alright, so some of the things that I do want to change about JEISIN currently. Let me just change scenes really quick so I can explain. Here we go. Alright, so for the next couple of streams in which I actually do development and stuff, we're mostly going to be focusing on trying to make the new version of JEISIN. And hopefully this shouldn't take too long. It shouldn't take more than a week, I would say. But I want to refactor JEISIN to make use of a more distributed kind of setup, right? I feel like distributed is easier for me to maintain, at least. The reason why I didn't go for distributed initially when I was working on Project JAISN was simply because fucking trying to manage the Git repositories for multiple projects is an absolute nightmare. Damn, you don't smile that much? Yeah, you're realizing now. And so I kind of want to make little microservices or little servers for each of the operations that we originally have inside our project at AISIN, right? But instead of making it really modular and whatever, we're just gonna have it be like one component each. So for something like speech to text, I'm gonna be using the Whisper CPP engine. I'm pretty sure this is what a lot of other engines are, I'm pretty sure this is what a lot of other applications are using right now as well, including Cobalt CPP, which is what's being used inside of Project JAISIN, right? I kind of want to avoid needing to use Cobalt CPP just because I don't really have the flexibility or control at a lower level versus using Whisper CPP directly. And so I'm going to make my own little server wrapping around Whisper CPP so I can make use of this. And it basically boasts all of the same features that Cobalt has, with being able to run Whisper models at using some sort of quantization and whatnot. So this should be nice to use. And I might add this to Project JAISIN, the original one, as well sometime in the future. And I've already gone ahead and downloaded this version, right? Yes, I have. The other one that I want to use is Llama CPP. This is also something that a lot of LLM applications are using under the hood, right? I don't think OLLAMA is, but I know for a fact Cobalt and LM Studio are using Llama CPP under the hood. And so this will allow me to run any sort of large language model without having to download all of their extra dependencies and whatever, right? The main reason why I want to go with Whisper CPP and Llama CPP are because they're basically standalone applications, or they're standalone codes with no other dependency on other repositories. And so I can just provide like a binary file for this, and that's all you really need for installation in order to use Llama CPP, right? You don't need to go off and download tokenizers, Hugging Face, all of this other shit, right? You just have this, you have the model, and you're good to go. And this should provide all of the features that LM Studio and Cobalt CPP already provide. I mean, there is some extra caching stuff, but I know Llama CPP already has their own KV cache, as well as, I don't know, just some other stuff. Did I hear plugins? No, you did not. You did not hear plugins. And last but not least, for speech to text, I am going to drop RVC for the time being because I don't necessarily need it at the moment. And I'm just going to stick with raw MeloTTS, a fine-tuned version of MeloTTS. But I'm not sure if I want to go with the original PyTorch version or the Python version, which we have been using so far. If I put this into its own server as well, it's not that much of a problem. But I also did a little bit of digging and found a C++ version of it, which is just like Llama CPP or Whisper CPP, right? There isn't really much dependencies on other packages, let's say Python packages. It is just its own code with optionally OpenVINO. The only problem is that I guess I need to compile it myself and provide this binary whenever I do like make releases for this, if I do end up using something like this for the original Project JAISIN. But I don't think it should be an issue, especially given how it's basically hasn't received any updates recently, right? The biggest updates that it has received are 4 months ago, which is more up to date than the Python version, the original version of MeloTTS, which was uploaded a year ago and then has stopped seeing updates since, right? That's kind of like my plan for my 3 main models that I'm using, and then everything else like the emotion classifier, all of that kind of stuff, right? We've already seen that there's not much changes there. But the reason why I want to go with these, again, much more minimal setup in terms of dependencies, and it should be easier to manage and resolve dependency conflicts in the future, which has been a major pain point for the last couple of months working on Project JEISON. Every single fucking time I do a release, there's always somebody complaining that, okay, dependencies aren't working anymore, or there's some sort of hiccup inside of the dependencies, and install no longer works anymore, right? It's just something annoying, but it's something that we have to deal with because of Python packages and the nature of how they work. Yeah, anyways, the main thing that I do want to get done today is learning how to make use of Fast API. And with Fast API, the one thing I want to get done today is, I suppose, I have this project inside of my GitHub, if I can find it. It's for locally recording audio and sending it to Project JEISON or JEISON Core. I kind of want to remake something like that, but instead of sending it to JEISON Core, I want to send it to a server that's running Whisper CPP in order to transcribe what is being said. And I want to kind of tune what is going into Whisper CPP in order to get accurate transcriptions. Because one of the main reasons why I am not streaming with JEISON that much recently, aside from all the development that's going on in the background, her transcription is really out of whack. And for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know what is causing this still, but all of her transcriptions just transcribe to Guatemala, the word Guatemala, and I can't do anything about it. I can't hold a conversation if all she hears from me is the word Guatemala. And so by the end of today's stream, hopefully I will figure out what the hell is causing that problem. Perhaps it's the initial prompt that's causing that problem. And then from the basis of that and from learning how to use Fast API, we should be able to crank out a Llama CPP server, a MeloTTS server, and just a bunch of other stuff. In fact, I'm not even sure if I really want these to be servers. I guess they should be. I know Llama CPP has a Python version, Python Llama CPP. Python bindings for Llama CPP. These aren't officially released by Llama CPP, but I think they are acknowledged as something or an alternative. If I could find it. Running Docker, Llama, XC, framework, dependencies. Tools? No. Infrastructure? No. Bindings. Here we go. Yes, it is acknowledged as a binding. It looks like he's faking a smile. It is pretty sensitive, I am not gonna lie. I don't know. It's probably because of the camera angle. Because we could embed this directly into Python without having to make an external server. Same with Whisper CPP, I suppose. Because this version is just for myself. Thank you, Avocado, for the follow.
Holy_av0cat0 is now following.
Oh, shoot. 3.8 plus. What are its dependencies? Hopefully none. Llama CPP Python shouldn't have any dependencies, right? Makefile, PyProject TOML. I guess they have UV corn. Okay. Yeah. Okay, they're turning this into a Python server. You know what? I'm just gonna make this myself. That is fine. Now we need Curse Guatemala. if we keep hearing Guatemala, or if we keep having Guatemala, JISON is never gonna work. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna stick to my plan of using servers and microservices. That's fine. Okay. Limit, what's it like being graduated? Brother. Brother, don't give me that. It's not like I'm gonna be any more free anytime soon. Visas and all of that stuff suck ass. I will be using this as a reference for when I try to make my AI. Yeah, I want to try and use this as, I don't know. I want to see how fast I can remake an AI VTuber if I were to remake her completely from scratch without any of Project JEISon's code, original code, just with everything that I've learned so far, right? From 150 hours or so to down to how many? I want to say I can get it done in less than 24 hours. It just depends on how long it takes me to learn Fast API. But it shouldn't be too long because I don't think Fast API is that complicated. I just need it for a basic REST API. And do I need WebSockets? Not really. I don't really care for WebSockets at this stage. All right. So let's start the timer and let's get going. And no, I am not adding plugins, MacDig, for the love of God. All right, start the timer. Where is you? New file, fast API.py. This is just for testing purposes. And I am gonna call this, what am I gonna call this? Conda create. Right, you don't see this. Conda create. I'm gonna call this personal Vita. This is gonna be Python 3.10, and I don't actually need to worry about pip for now at least. Is Fast API a good thing to use for it? It is. Okay, Fast API just allows you to make a API. It is pretty lean. And so I would say it is a good choice if you're trying to make an API using Python, right? Project JEISon makes use of Flask, and Flask is both a web server as well as it's a web server, right? So it allows you to make APIs, but it also allows you to serve web pages and whatnot. I don't necessarily need the ability to serve web pages with what I'm doing right now, right? I just need an API. And Fast API allows me to do things a lot more simply, I would say. And in fact, no, Project JEISon isn't even using Flask. It's using a variation of Flask called Quart. So I can make use of asynchronous functions or asynchronous endpoints. All right, there we go. Conda activate personal Vita. And now with this, I need to install Fast API. Where is an example installation? Don't show me that, just show me the fucking... Okay. I have a question. From what source did you learn all of that? Like, did you just read the documentation? Yes, I would just read the documentation. In fact, that's what I'm going to be doing right now. So with Fast API, let's look at example of creating it. This is our example. I'm just going to copy paste this and decipher it from within this console because it's easier to read here. Fuck off, Copilot. I do not want to see you. So importing typing. I do not care about typing. Actually, do I care about typing? Union. I might have to care about typing depending on how this endpoint works. So it seems like as API, we just specify the API here. We have an endpoint using app.get as our decorator. This specifies it as the slash. And when we read, this is called read root, which sends back a JSON of hello world. So this is the JSON object we get back inside of the HTTP response for a get to slash. In fact, I can probably run this right now, right? Python./fast API. I don't know what port this is going to run it on. It doesn't even run it. Oh, here we go. Cannot import name fast API from module fast API. But I thought I installed fast API. I am using fast API. What's he doing? I am trying to learn fast API and then start remaking parts of JEISIN for my own personal version. What do you mean fast API is not part of fast API? I am part of personal Vita at the moment, most likely due to a modular import. Fast API dev main.py. Is that how that works? Run it. Ah, okay. Okay, let me create a README for my notes. Running fast API server. And this is just going to be fast API dev fast API.py. All right, this had a problem. What was the problem here? Starting development server, could not find fast API app in module. Try using --app. What do you mean --app? What? I'm just going to rename this to main for the time being. Right, because it was from fast API. It was trying to import itself. There we go. It's running on HTTP 8000, and on slash, we get this JSON response back saying hello world, right? That is the response we get back for a slash here. We can rename this function to literally anything, and we could even return this as asynchronous. Oh, okay. They got a, fuck, what's it called again? It's a daemon that automatically refreshes with changes. I forget the name of it. But if I refresh this, this still works. And I can see that the results will change if I change this. So hello world 2, this refreshes with the changes. If I refresh this page, I get the response back, hello world 2. And this is an asynchronous function by default, which is pretty nice. We have this second function here. This takes in on the path /root, the root /item ID. We get the item ID inside of as a parameter here. What is this Q though? Q, union string none equals none. Item ID and then Q. Okay, let's first check out what /items limit. We'll get back an error, it seems. Detail, type, item, int parsing, path. Input should be a valid integer. My bad, 1, 2, 3. There we go. We get item ID 1, 2, 3 and a queue of null. What is this queue going to be? I'm assuming it's going to be a query. Hello equals world. No, it's not. Check the /docs endpoint. Ah. So Q is part of the query. but for some reason our query is not sending it back. Oh, right. Fast API automatically generates a open API spec, right? Oh, that's actually useful. Can I change the endpoint of this? Can it be like /API/docs? Let's try it out. I want to send 1, 2, 3. And what is this string going to be? Hello world. Let's just put this and see what it returns. So Q is equal to this. Okay, so Q is inside of the query. And we get back hello world. So if I add something else here, like R, for example, will this add R as another query parameter? Yes, it does. Okay. And so I can put in 1, 2, 3, hello world. And if we execute this, we'll get back a result that says Q hello, but then world wasn't even used, right? That's fine. Okay. But then what happens if if I put in a non-existent query? How can I put in a just keyword args, right? Maybe I can put keyword args. Let's see what this does. Keyword args. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and I am gonna say hello equals world. No. I guess I don't really need that feature anyways. I don't need to be able to capture non-specified or arbitrary query arguments, I guess. That's fine. Okay. What else do I need from Fast API? They specify the interactive docs here. What is this? Alternative API docs. Now go to redocs. Oh. You have a different way of viewing it as opposed to the default Swagger or I guess Open API one. Okay, that's kind of nice as well. This is using redoc. Then we have a bigger example here. Item name, just return the JSON as is. Interactive API docs upgrade. What is this for? Oh. Yeah, okay, so whenever I update this main file, the changes show up immediately. I think that's what they're trying to say here. Including the new body. Yep. Okay, this is honestly a really nice way for me to make the API, Fast API, because it allows me to also test it just through this web interface as well, which is how I prefer to test things, right? Fuck unit testing. I am not a unit tester. Having to write unit tests just kill me. Oh, right, there's also cookies and stuff. For the time being, I don't really need to know them. True, who needs unit tests for our AI VTuber? So true. What is security? I don't know security. All right, in summary, you declare once the types of parameters, bodies, and etc. as function parameters. Do that with standard modern Python types. You don't need to learn new syntax, okay? Just use standard Python. That is fine. Or for more complex item model, how does he make use of this item model thing? We have class item model here. Where does this get used? Item. How does this get used? Put that in there. Let's check it out. So we get item ID. This is for putting an item. We can put in the item ID here, and then we get a request body, which has name, price, is offer. Name, price, is offer. Yo, okay, that's pretty cool. This is making use of Pydantic to create data, what are they called? Data models, which can be used to structure and validate request bodies. Oh, that's really cool. What if I put in something that isn't inside of there, like hello world again? And then I hit execute. Will this fail? JSON decode error, my bad. Execute. We still get the response back. Okay, what if I malform this? So instead of a Boolean, this is an integer like 1, 2, 3. Now we get back a error saying input should be a valid Boolean. Unable to interpret input, or is offer. Okay, this is really useful. Using Pydantic as a easier method for validating forms or request bodies. Okay, I can get behind this. So item ID is used in here. Is it possible for me to mix the two of them? And does order matter? So if I put Q here, will this be a query? Or will it also be considered something for item, like a request body? This is a query, okay, nice. If I change this to a, how does this play out? This is still considered as a query, but now it's required. Okay, so if it's an argument, it's required. If it's a keyword argument, it's just a query. And I'm assuming it's being caught as a query because it's optionally nullable. So what if I just change this to a string? String, still a query. There's string or null. Okay, so I'm going to change this to a string, and I'm going to change this so there's nothing there. Query. Still a query. Now, last but not least, let's see what happens if I turn you into an item. Okay. So now that I have two items, or two classes here, we have two bodies or two objects inside of our request body, one for item and one for queue. Versus if I remove this, it is by default item and won't specify item here, right? Okay. Does this have to be a model from Pydantic? What if I remove you? We get an error here saying that invalid arguments in the response field. If I refresh this, it's not going to refresh because there's an error inside of our web server, so that's completely broken. So this needs to be a base model in order for it to understand the structure of this, of all of the arguments inside of that model. Okay, that makes sense. So if I refresh this now, this should work. Okay, that's fine. That's good. I'm actually not too familiar, or I'm not too used to using Pydantic. I should probably learn this as well at some point. I just know that it's a way for, I guess, improving types and type checking, as well as yeah, just making classes that are more robust in a way. It is a little bit more tedious to use sometimes, but I think overall the benefits outweigh the the overhead for using it. The development overhead, at least. Okay. Okay, with this in mind, let's try... I know I said I was going to try and make a server for Whisper CPP, but I think it might be more appropriate for us to try and make a server for Melo today, right? At least for MeloPython, because I want to be able to take in data, like text data, natural language text. So that would get rid of Whisper CPP already. Or actually, what do I want to do here? Web UI's great return? Not yet, not yet. Okay, yeah, we'll probably do this in the next stream, Whisper CPP in the next stream, because it might take me a little bit to download some of the models for automated voice detection. So I'm just going to do MeloTTS instead, because I also don't have a model for Llama CPP right now. I could probably pull one from LM Studio, but I don't know how well that's going to work out. So we're just going to use MeloTTS for this, which should be fine. We're going to use it for the base. We're going to use the base voice and try and generate voice samples out of that, right? We're going to have a client and a server that's running fast API. Yeah, okay, let's just do this. We're going to rename you to MeloServer.py. I'm going to rename you to MeloServer.py. Actually, could help the problem that I have. Which problem? You mean with the web interface? All right, let's shut down the server. We need to install MeloTTS here. Use without installation. I want to install and use locally. This should be a pretty simple install using pip, if I can find the actual command. Where is it? This repo is developed and tested on Ubuntu. Right, I can just do pip install uv pip install -e. I don't know if -e is necessary. Git plus and then the git URL. Editable must refer to a local directory. Okay, let's get rid of -e then. And let's get a requirements file here. This is making use of fast API. I don't really care what version. Is this stable, standard? Standard. And this is also making use of Melo here. At. Can I copy the commit? At this commit, okay. Reminder to use Python 3.10, do not use 3.9 like I did or you will get headaches. Yeah, I've been told a number of times by Noel. That's the reason why Project JAISN is now 3.10 as well. I mean, it used to be 3.12, but there was also a lot of backward compatibility issues for some of the packages. So I ended up switching down to 3.10. AI cannot understand me, gives assertion error. Yeah, Pydantic would probably help with data-informed validation for you. Okay. So we have MeloTTS installed. We have fast API going. Let us make a server, shall we? So I want to, first of all, let's just make a basic endpoint for, should it be asynchronous? We'll just make it asynchronous. There's no harm in doing so. Asynchronous defined generate. There's going to be a basic generation endpoint where we're going to take in text and output speech with metadata, right? Very simple. First of all, let's attach this to our application. We're going to call this /generate. Oh, whoops, not you. I'm going to call you /generate. And we're going to import MeloTTS. I forget what the API actually looks like, what the package actually looks like. Do they have it here? Not really. I guess I can just look through here, right? I can import Melo. And this will have the init here, but the API here. API, TTS, neural network nodule, app, synthesize, load speakers. Fuck, okay. I forgot where they actually specify the API for it. I'm supposing it's just this, right? The TTS here. This TTS, we have the init, we have audio 2, split sentences into pieces, TTS2 file. Okay, yes, this seems about right. So from melo.api import TTS. I'm assuming this is how it goes. As someone who hasn't had any code classes, can I do this by reading the documentation of all of this? Pretty much, yeah. I wouldn't say you need formal education in order to start coding, at least at this higher level. It's something you can just kind of dive straight into once you've at least learned the fundamentals of how to program. Yeah, just like Fire Eagle said. As long as you have the basic knowledge of coding and logic, then you should be fine. You'll just need a little bit more experience. For TTS, I don't really care about hot swapping out the model, at least for the time being. So I'm just going to straight up make a global variable for my TTS as well. I can probably pull up Project JEISON as reference. You know what? That's fine. I'm just trying to make this as fast as possible, really. I'm going to pull up Project JEISON's code so I can look at how I implemented the operation for MeloTTS, because their API isn't too clear, right? So first of all, on startup, we have this leaked code. Oh my God, guys, I'm leaking open source code. Yeah, so we have this model. We import it from MeloTTS API like we did inside of our current folder. And then we have TTS using language, device, config path, and checkpoint path. So we'll just add these. And I'll fix this up in a moment. Right, I'll make these configurable. In fact, I'll just hard code these for now. I'll just say en device CUDA config path, some path, and some other path. I'll edit this later so that it's actually configurable through some sort of config file. Speaker IDs might be a little bit handy. Right? Do I actually need speaker IDs though? What do I make use of speaker IDs for? Speaker IDs is a dictionary, and then using this dictionary, we pull out like, I guess this is effectively an enum. We need it in order to get the specific speaker ID. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because the speaker IDs that we normally provide are a string, but then on the MeloTTS side, they convert that string into some sort of number or some sort of hash, which isn't really explicit to us, but is saved inside of the actual model itself. So when we do load up the model, we need to load up this dictionary again. That way we can translate the string name that we normally use in order to its hash or its ID. So we have these. We'll expose them as global variables here, TTS and speaker IDs. Look, man, my V key is double tapping now. I've been control Ving too much. So this is us setting up the model. We don't necessarily need to delete the model or anything. I mean, we can do self.delete, but this doesn't really matter. Python will just clean that up for us. Our configuration, this is my explicit code. We don't really care about getting configuration as well. This is the code that we need for actually generating output or generating audio speech. Let's put this here. And what is going on here? So we're getting a NumPy array of all of the audio output from generate here. This is going to be speaker IDs using this speaker ID. I'm going to replace this with some speaker ID and replace this later to do. I also recommend running TTS2 file once on startup as a warm-up to speed up inference whenever we call it the next time. Yeah. I was seeing originally with Project JAISN, I didn't have that speed up or I didn't have that warm-up function, and I didn't really understand what the point of the warm-up function was, but now I do, right? Because for some reason, they don't immediately load the file until it is used for the first time. They don't immediately load up the model, right? So you need to kind of send some sort of dummy input. So that way the package will load up the model. So that way the next time you run this generation, it doesn't have to load up the model for any sort of subsequent calls, which is kind of annoying. I wish they just did it by default. It's the same thing for RVC. It is the same thing for RVC as well. But once you get past that first one, it doesn't really make much of a difference, but you might as well just have it, right? We don't make use of this output path because we want it to return the actual audio as a NumPy array. If you were to include this line right here, it would output it into a temporary file, which is okay, but we don't need to have the extra step of parsing out that audio file, right? We don't need that at all. So I'll just delete that. It'll return it to us as a NumPy array. That's okay. STP ratio, that is fine. I'm just going to rename you to like 0.8. Higher is generally better. Noise floor, I'm pretty sure by default this was 0.4 and 0.8 for the width. And speed itself, I'm just going to set to 1.0. Quiet, true. Yes, I don't want any logs as output. I mean, we could have logs as output, but it's better if we don't. We also need torch. I do want to run this, so I'm going to install PyTorch really quickly. PyTorch with GPU at least, not with CPU. 12.6 or all the way up to 12.9, why not? I'll use pip for you. What? Oh, so fast. Wait, whatever happened to Torch Audio? Did Torch Audio get merged or something? I don't know what happened to Torch Audio. We do need to force reinstall though. Hold on. Because it is detecting the CPU version and it's not reinstalling because of that. Force reinstall. Okay, we'll let this reinstall in the background. That's okay. We already have it cached as well, so that's okay. Import Torch. And this content, we'll worry about that in a moment. Actually, no, we can worry about that now. Or actually, no, in a moment. In a moment. We also need bytes.io. Import from IO, import bytes.io. This is mainly just to make parsing of the bytes a little bit easier for us. And we need sound file. Import sound file. Self-sample rate. Self-sample rate. Shit, what's the sample rate of this? This needs to be the sample rate of whatever is generated by MeloTTS, and that is, if we can find it here. No, this is not it. JISON. Yes, these are the constants we need. I'm going to include these. Global sample rate, sample width, and channels. We have our constant here. This is going to be the constant here. Outputting as wave as PCM16, that is all okay. Taking the audio bytes from the PyTorch array, that was converted from our NumPy array, okay. And we're inserting it into our bytes.io. And this effectively makes it look like, what's it? This is effectively what would be inside of a wave file, right? So this includes the audio bytes, but it also includes the metadata for sample rate, as well as sample width and channels. So after writing all of that, we head to the beginning of the quote-unquote file or the buffer. And now we can make use of wave again. Import wave. Hello, Afarel. Welcome to the stream. Using wave.open, we can open our audio buffer as though it's a file, and then we can process it as per usual. I mean, we can just keep it like this. It doesn't really matter. I would rather take it directly from f itself, like f.get sample or get frame rate. In fact, you know what? Fuck it, I'll just do it. f.get sample width and f.get and channels. This is more dynamic. That's a little bit better. We can kind of deprecate these constants. And you know what? I'll just hard code this here. Fuck it. Why not? Hello, Undead. Welcome to the stream. So with this, we'll return you instead. Okay, this works out. So this returns back the audio bytes along with the sample rate, sample width, and channel metadata. Yeah, that should be fine, right? As a endpoint or a generation endpoint, this is all it really needs to do. We need to specify an input now though. We could specify it as a query parameter, something like that. But the thing is, HTTP and URLs, they have a length limit to them. So it might not be good for much longer sentences, right? Much longer generations. So instead, we're going to make use of their whole pydantic models for creating request bodies that we can use inside of our requests here. And in fact, this needs to be a post. So instead, we can have a generation request. With a base model, this is going to be content with, I guess optionally, the SDP ratio and all of these. So we have content. This is a string. We have SDP ratio. This is a float, which is equal to 0.8 by default, let's say. We're going to give these all defaults. Doesn't need to be a union. Fuck it, we'll just put union. Union, float, and none. Actually, no, it needs to be a float. It needs to be a float. The same with the rest of these. Float. There we go. So this is our generation request. Only thing that is required is the actual content we want to be spoken. And then all of these other things are kind of optional. So we can optionally provide speed, noise scale, or SDP, which is expressiveness. Now, we can take this request.
Ray is now following.
Thank you, Ray Zileron, for the follow. So we have request here and generation request. From request, we will take out request.content, and same for the rest of these. I guess I can also provide speaker ID here as well. No, we'll just keep speaker ID as a constant. There we go. Speaker ID, speaker ID. What are you making? I am making a server for all of the operations, for each of the operations inside of Project JAISYN. If you look in Project JAISYN, we have stuff for TTS, T2T, speech to text, all of this additional stuff, right? I'm basically making a microservice, one for each of them. And this is purely for my own version of JAISYN, my own local development, right? Because for me, having this is a lot easier than having to manage something as big as this. Because the layers of abstraction here make it really hard for me to refactor or to add new features, which is kind of important when I want to do things quickly when developing JAISYN for these streams or prototyping something for Project JAISYN. Microservices for the win. I do like microservices. It's just that it is a pain to kind of coordinate deployments for something that is meant to be for everybody, right? Like I myself don't really mind working with microservices, but the deployment complexity does go up quite a bit. You can't deny that. So we're just gonna collect all of these. Boom, there we go. So this endpoint should be good now, honestly. We can delete the rest of you. This doesn't even need to be asynchronous. I mean, okay, we'll just keep it asynchronous. There's no harm in it. The rest of these configurations we'll take from a global config file. We'll share one config file between all of the services we create here. I'm just going to call this config.yaml. Right? We're just going to throw everything into here, even though some configs belong to other services. As long as we don't have name conflicts, they should be fine. So import YAML. We'll have config is equal to YAML.safe_load. I haven't done this in a while. Safe load from HStream. Right. This is with open config.yaml. Read as F. This is from F. I might make this configurable as well. Who knows? I don't fucking care. This is just for myself. By the way, I think I finally figured out how the OSU AI is meant to be made, but don't have time to learn it right now. Yeah, I think the easiest way to start learning how to make an AI or something like OSU would just to be try making basic classifiers using like fully connected neural networks. You can go back, search up what I just said later in the VOD or something, but learning to make the neural networks from scratch is a good skill, at least using PyTorch, right? You don't have to go down to the level of making the nodes yourselves or implementing backpropagation. All I hear are excuses, brother. It's not excuses, it's literally reasonings that it's useless to do otherwise. Unless if you're in finance. Okay, so for this we'll use Melo. So inside of Melo server, I'm going to have, what do I need? Language. I need device. I need config path and checkpoint path. And I need speaker ID. And so for each of these, I can have en, CUDA. I still need to figure out the path for these. Some path, some other path. And this one is just going to be JEIS, and let's put it. And now I can replace what's inside of here with config. Is it dot? I don't remember if it's dot or if it's... It might be a dictionary, actually. I can quickly check, actually. Inside of JISON, we have, inside of our source, utils, there's a config that loads it up. And when we load it up from name, path, safe load, load from dictionary. So it is a dictionary. And yeah, it is a dictionary. Okay. Do you have ML training? Define ML training. I have studied ML in school, just not as like a researcher. And I do sometimes fine-tune my own models, though I am not the best at it. I'm still learning. Yeah, I have attended a program. but it's only like 2 classes really. I feel like most of the things that I have learned, at least on a practical level, are from this project. Putting everything in its place. Is there anything else I need to configure? No, not really. Okay. I think this is ready for testing. By default, we can keep these as null. I'm pretty sure at least. If we put these as null, it's going to use the default voices from MeloTTS. And so if I put this as default, that should work. I am not too sure. Is there anything else we need to change? Let me just go and quickly check the inference code for MeloTTS just to make sure that I'm right on that. Just a simple check that avoids us needing to debug that later. So with their inference script here, we have TTS is equal to this checkpoint and config. By default, they are none. None and where's config path? Oh, config path is equal to this or config.json. OS path.join, checkpoint path, which is none, and config.json, which is if that is none, then is config.json valid? I would assume so. By default, this is none. I'll do a checkpoint. Okay. This is the configs and the config.json here. This is the default config.json. Do I have to copy this over? Let's just keep these as null for now. And let's see how this affects it. By default, we have what voices? What voices do we have? Data example, metadata list. We have en default on en. I believe that should be good. So let's run this server. Melo server.py. This will launch it on port 8000. Hopefully. Searching for package file structure from directories with init py. Is everything all right here? Or is it because of the TTS being initialized right now? Oh, yep, okay, we need to download some models. So this is gonna take a little bit. Oh, what happened? Oh, I didn't finish installing. My bad. There are some additional models we need to install, such as this Unidike model. It's half a gig. Okay, this is gonna take a little bit, and then the other one is also gonna take a little bit. Shouldn't take too long though. I think it's only 1 gig. But with my internet, it could take a little bit. So yes, they have EN US, EN default. These are the available speakers, and the language EN, that works out to be fine. Yeah, the only thing is the config file. I'm not sure. Oh my fucking god. Why is it so loud? The only thing is the config file. I'm not sure if I actually do need to provide it or if null is completely fine here and it will use the default if there is no config provided. Just in case though, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to need this anyways for all the different models that I'm using. And this one is specifically going to be for Melo. Whoops. Delete. For Melo, I'm going to have a default. And this is going to contain the config that they have inside of MeloTTS here. Config.json. You can have that. I don't care. I will point to you there later on. Okay, we've downloaded the model. That was fairly quick. If we run this again, it should initiate download now. Okay. Looks like we'll begin downloading soon. I remember the name Fast API, just no clue from what anymore. I mean, Fast API is pretty commonly used. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I need to capitalize default. Did it already finish downloading? That was so quick. What happened? Oh, I guess it just failed. Oh, that's fine. I think it needs to actually download when I fine-tune it. But for this, it doesn't need to download as much. There we go. We have it running now. If I open up this server, actually no, this is not going to have it. If I go to docs, we can give it a try now. Oh, there we go. Generate, post, and we have our schema here. Perfect. If we try it out, we'll say generate. This is a test message. Hello, Twitch chat. Okay. That's going to be our example. If we execute this now, let's see. It's downloading the models right now. This might time out. I don't know what the maximum timeout for an HTTP request is, but we need to download the model and then it will start generating. Once this finishes generating, we should get back a string. Oh, shoot. No, this is not going to work. This is not going to work because what we're sending back is a raw bytes string, right? And raw byte strings are not JSON serializable, right? Here we go. UTF-8 codec could not decode byte. This invalid start byte. Actually, is this related? I don't think so. But I know what I just mentioned will be a problem, so I need to shut this down and fix that really quick. We also did fix this with Project JSON just by encoding into base 64. So import base 64. I forget if it's encoding or decoding. Base 64 dot B64 encode. And this is going to be using UTF-8. UTF-8. I don't know if UTF-8 is enough, but hopefully it is. Actually, is it enough? UTF. No, shouldn't it be 16? Is UTF-8 enough? Whatever, should be fine. UTF-8 should be enough, and dot. There was something else I needed to do for this, or is this already enough? Let me just check Project JSon's code just to be sure. This should be inside of the main. I can search for base64. Base64 is used here for B64 encode. Not decode into UTF-8. Wait, audio bytes.decode. Final chunk out. Huh? Why am I decoding this into UTF-8? Sure, there we go. Yeah, decode just converts into UTF-8, but I don't know why I'm doing it like this, but whatever, that's fine. This should be fine though. So if this is restarted, launch that again, we shouldn't need to download the models anymore. So this should go much quicker. There we go. Head back over to the API and execute you again. If we come over, do we need to download it? Nope. We just loaded up the model, we ran it, finished. And we got a CORS failure, shoot. URL scheme must be HTTP or HTTPS for CORS request. Man, okay, oh, fucking hell. Why am I getting a CORS error? What? I wasn't getting that earlier. I guess I need to check. How do I set up CORS for Fast API? Fast API CORS. Okay. CORS middleware. This sounds about right. Take the middleware here. We have a list of origins. 8,000 is fine. We don't have these two. Localhost is okay, but I'm just going to add one for 127.0.0.1 just in case. And we're going to add this middleware for some validation. Everything is fine. I don't really care. So hopefully this should work now. There we go. Try it out. A Twitch chat. Oh. A Twitch chat. Execute. There we go. We got audio out, and at the very bottom we should have SRSWCH. If I copy all of this, you're gonna have a test file, test.py, data.json. This is just for testing purposes. I want to take this response and then convert it into an audio file and see what we get as a result. So with open data.json doesn't really matter, as read as f, this is result is equal to f dot read. Yeah, read. This is going to read everything. And we need to import JSON in order to parse it. Import JSON. With this, we can do JSON dot parse. No, what am I saying? JSON dot load s. We can even just do JSON dot load. What? JSON dot load takes in f. Yeah, that's better. Now we take that with the result. We can use wave with wave.open import wave output.wave. And this will be write bytes. I'm going to do f.set frame rate to be result SR, f.set sample width to be result SW, and f.set and channels to be result CH. Last but not least, we can write it all out. So f.write frames as results audio bytes. I believe that is the results, right? Audio bytes, but not just audio bytes. We need to parse this out. So import base64. This needs to be base64 dot b64 decode. Using UTF-8, I think. I'm not entirely sure if this is correct. Let's quickly do a check to see if this is actually correct, right? I think this should be inside the Discord bot. Right now, what type would result be in? What do you mean, what type would result be in? Right now, the result, the audio, is a string, but we want it to be bytes, because those are actually different. So if we come over to the Discord bot, utils bot, we should have base64 somewhere in here. Decode. Wait, encode, decode? No, that's not the right one. Decode, just straight up decode. Okay, that should be fine. Let's start up a new one. And conda activate, what did I call this? Personal Vita, personal Vita. What? Oh, I misspelled it. And now python./test.py. We get an output here. That is not promising, is all I'm going to say. Oh, what is this? Assertion error B UTF-8? Oh, my bad. Yeah, my bad. Wait, what? Alt chars, readable buffer. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Output wave, 1 second. Okay, I am actually scared because we might get absolutely ear blasted with this one. So let me just, we'll play it muted first, or with a tiny little bit. With a tiny little bit. Let's hope it's not just static garbage.
Hey, Twitch chat.
Perfect.
Hey, Twitch chat.
It mispronounces Twitch, but that's perfectly fine. This is good. Rice Roll, are you still here? Wasn't there a add-on to MeloTTS that, what's it called? That fixes the pronunciation? I know you guys sent it before, but I didn't really check it out in time. I don't really remember which channel it's in. I can try looking for it. But that was one of my gripes with Melo. Sometimes the pronunciation is not great, but you guys seem to fix it. I have a couple solutions that I can... Oh, just edit the CMU dictionary representation file. Where is that? There are some ideas that I have for improving the pronunciation, such as normalizing the text. But for something like, there are some syllables that it just has trouble speaking, like twitch or some G's and stuff like that. Where can I find CMU dict though? If I go to Melo, is it inside of here somewhere? I would assume it would be under the models, the model configuration. Monotonic align? No. Melo/text. Okay. This would be under English utils? No. Phenomizers. Maybe it's not included in the repository, but after you download it. Should be a... Oh, it's just straight up in there. Rep. Ah, here we go. Oh. Okay, hold on a second. We need to open this. Oh, that's a little bit annoying. Is there no better way to... Oh. You have a whole gist for this? Nice. Okay, let's check this out. I don't see any posts or mentions about MeloTTS mispronouncing certain words. So I'm sharing this post for folks who are using MeloTTS in their projects and are encountering mispronunciation issues. All right, MeloTTS is a decent TTS that we can run locally. However, it relies on the CMU pronouncing dictionary style ARPA bet, this alphabet for phonemes, set to correctly pronounce words. This means that words like anime are going to get mispronounced because it does not exist in the CMU dictionary. Wait, what's the CMU dictionary? Is it literally a word to phoneme dictionary? Look up the pronunciation of a word, anime. Look it up. Does not exist. Oh, so if I say logic, logic. Okay. Wait, but so that means you need to add the rest of the words? Wait. If a word doesn't exist in there, what happens to it? It just gets mispronounced? Or it would try to synthetically generate. Oh, so it's like, okay. Traditional synthetic text-to-speech engines like SAPI 5 and whatever, they have their own algorithm for parsing a word down into its phonemes for pronunciation, right? I don't know if some of them might use the CMU pronouncing dictionary, but some of them might try and generate them on the fly. So what I'm assuming is happening is if it can't find it already inside the CMU dictionary, then it will try and use this algorithm to generate the pronunciation for something like anime. But it's not going to always be accurate. But if we wanted to pronounce it accurately, we can add a new entry into the CMU dictionary with the entry anime with the correct pronunciation for it. And so that key will be there. We are no longer using the algorithm to generate an incorrect pronunciation since this is already cached. And we can do this with stuff like if your VTuber has a special name that's not easy to pronounce, or if you have some acronyms like JEISIN, right? If I were to spell it out as JEISIN with no periods in between, it will end up pronouncing this as Jason, right? But if you put in periods in between, it may pronounce it as JEISIN or some other whack-ass way. But we can give it the specific pronunciation for JEISIN inside of the dictionary if we just encode it to be like J A I son. I don't fucking know. JAI son. Wonder why Beetle didn't do this? Because Beetle's, okay, Neuro originally, I don't know if you were there for that stream, but I recreated Neurosama's voice using Azure Speech Services. And Azure Speech Services is, the model that he used is a traditional synthetic speech to text or text to speech. And it also does not allow the modification of the underlying text to speech engine in the first place. So he couldn't modify that in the first place. However, the pronunciation for that model was already pretty good, so he didn't encounter the problem of mispronunciation for pretty much all other words. If I remember correctly, you fucked it up? What do you mean? What did I fuck up? But yeah, this is good. We just need to fix up the... Oh, it's going to be annoying though. But you know what? This is my own personal version, so it doesn't really matter. Where is it? WSL, Conda, ENVs. I wish I could just straight up open it inside of my... Can I straight up open it inside of here? I probably shouldn't look through that right now. Better to look through here on my own file browser. Where do we have it? Personal, beta, lib, site packages. Where is Melo? Melo and text. Where's the representation? CMU, oh, there's a cache pickle. Wait, is the pickle the .rep? You fucked it up? I didn't fuck up the neuro voice. The neuro voice was perfectly fine. It was the other testings that I completely fucked up. Open anyways. Ah, how the fuck am I gonna edit this? Is there a way to edit it? The .pickle needs to be deleted if you make changes to the .rep file. Oh, I don't see the .rep file in my files though. CMU. Yeah, okay, this is what I see. All right, I have the pickle here, but I don't have a rep file. Open cpop strict, cbert, English. I can probably just, yeah, I was gonna say, I can probably just download the file, right? Where is Melo? Because I have the pickle here, but my representation is just gone. So if I download this raw file, okay. Let me just go and get it. Is there a way for me to specify the representation file I use when I initialize it? Probably not, right? Not to my knowledge. Okay. Carnegie Malone. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, we have new pronunciations. So let's go add an entry for Twitch really quick. We have I'm surprised Twitch is not even in here because Twitch isn't even, Twitch is not just a brand name, it's a verb, right? TWI. Okay. Oh, TWITCH. Ah, here we go. They do have Twitch. Okay, I'm gonna make it say JSON. JSON. Okay, I'm gonna put it, I guess we can put it anywhere, right? Doesn't matter where I put it. It doesn't have to be in alphabetical order, right? Exclamation point. Yeah, we'll just put it up here. We'll have JSON. What is this? How do you specify this? J. Okay, how is there a way for me to create the phonemes easily? Because this is this is hard. J cut sun J A I Buckeye. J-A-I sun. Oh, read the docs. I got everything there. Okay, that's good. Brother, you don't need to summon Noel for everything. It's fine. There are 2 methods. Yeah, because there's no way this is how you're supposed to do it. Okay, in fact, we can attempt to get MeloTTS to try and say anime, but we'll probably say something like anim. Link to audio preview. Clicking on random links from strangers.
Anim.
Anim. You're not linguistics experts, exactly. I mean, okay, no. It's not even like this is specifically linguistic experts, something that linguistic experts learned. It's just how they decide to encode each of the phonemes, right? I don't think there's a standardized way for putting the phonemes, is there? Actually, no, there probably is a standardized way of putting the phonemes. Oh, but they have it here. They have the phoneme set. They have or odd. What? E. Okay, there we go. And that could probably work, but let's see what you said. What about the word VTuber? MeloTTS fails to pronounce this correctly. It's going to be like a VTuber.
Deeber.
Oh, that's not even close. Deeber. We could attempt to fine-tune MeloTTS, but results will vary and may not solve the issue. Yep, I didn't get this problem solved in my case either. This is because MeloTTS relies on G2P library. When you fine-tune the MeloTTS, you would just give it a good amount of audio file samples, transcribe speech to text, throw it into MeloTTS. Yeah, it's very TLDR. Well, MeloTTS uses the G2P library to turn your transcription into ARPA-BET phonemes. The G2P, oh, this is Grapheme to Phonemes library, right? Okay, that's cool. I didn't even know we had a library for that. I thought everything was just bespokely written, which is kind of dumb. I guess they would have a library for that. That their TTS engine can read and will also predict the sequence of phonemes that each word, for each word. Even with the G2P library that they use, it will still give incorrect phonemes for certain words like anime or VTuber. Okay, yeah. That's probably like the speech to phoneme library. It's not really speech to phoneme, it's just words to phonemes, right? Graphemes to phonemes. How do we fix this? Best way to fix pronunciation is to actually provide the ARPA-BET phonemes and for whichever words get mispronounced. To do this, in your Melo project, navigate to MeloTTS, like you said, and open the cmudict.reps. Okay. You will see a huge list of words followed by their ARPA-BET phonemes. Okay. We need to add the mispronounced word followed by the ARPA-BET phonemes, but where do we get these sequences of phonemes and where do we, for whatever word we want? Okay. Thank you, Rice Roll. Method 1. Piece together existing phonemes from other words, which is not what we want to do. And method 2. I guess you do have a pretty good guide for this. Well, let's skip on. Ask AI. Oh. Piece together, if you don't need to be a linguist, phoneme, you will pick out A2, animation. There's another example, chat for ChatGPT. Okay. Rice roll. What if you update this gist with the additional method of going through the phoneme set at the bottom of whatever that linked page was that you sent earlier, or you had linked at the top? I'm just gonna go through it like this. So for J, the issue that there are some digits after those phenome sets in that website. Are there? Some are required. Oh, wait. This phoneme, like A81 or A82, A1, A2, etc. Oh, why aren't those included? What would be the difference between them anyways? Oh, stress and no stress. Okay. Secondary stress. Okay, yeah, that gets a little bit complicated. Stress digits. Okay. Let's try it out. What does it even look like inside of here? Some of them include stress digits, some of them don't. And I have no clue what they do for each syllable, some different than others. If we look at a bad, where's a bad? Bad. Maybe is how long you hold it for? I don't fucking know. If I look at Jason, like I think it's for vowels. All the consonants, they don't really have the stress, but then the vowels, they have the numbers, right? Whichever phoneme is a vowel, it has the stress on it. And I'm assuming it's how much you stress the, okay, not how much you stress the vowel. That's like saying air is made of air, but it's kind of like how long you say it for. Jason. The O is quick, but this is a little bit longer. Do we have an instance of a 2? Javelin, Javanese, jawbone. Let's see what I can get with J-I-S-N. So J1, J-A, I'll put this as 2, I, sun. We'll do something like this. Okay? And now let's give it a try. Let's restart the server. Delete the pickle? Right, delete the pickle or else it's cached. Maybe the pickle overwrote the rep file, but that shouldn't be the case. I don't know. Okay. Let's run this again. We'll have a sentence that uses J-I-S-N and we'll see how it pronounces it. Ew. What is this? Line index, word split, list index out of range. Oh, what else do I need to edit here? 2 white spaces in between the word and the alphabet. Oh, okay. There we go. And if we come over here again, we should be able to, okay, let's restart. It needs to load it up. Okay, that's good. Try it out. This is a message from JISON. Okay, we'll use this as our example. Execute. Takes a little bit of time to load the model and generate. Copy all the contents from here. Throw it into our test here. And run our test command. Now we should get an output here. Let's listen to it.
This is a message from JISON. This is a message from JISON.
I mean, it is pronouncing it correctly. It's just I want it to have bigger emphasis in between each of these syllables. This J, this A dot I dot son. How can I make this a little bit longer? Can I add like a double dash? J-A-I-S. Oh. Why the fuck do we have dashes? J-A-I-S-O-N. And did it generate another pickle? It did generate another pickle. Delete this pickle. Just to be safe, I'll restart the entire process. Okay, I think it's good. Let's execute again. Restart. This is a message from JISON. This is why I gave the two methods, because deleting the pickle and restarting is so annoying. I mean, deleting the pickle is fine. The restart part is annoying because that's just, I don't have a good way of restarting Fast API. With the new models and everything. All right, let's give this a listen.
This is a message from JISON. This is a message from JISON.
That's even worse. How can we approach this? JISON. Like, what are some words that have a very distinct pause in them? I J E. Maybe I could just add a Y at the end of them. Like J normally has a Y at the end of them, right? J A I son. That way there's like, it's not consonant, it's not vowel stringing together. Consonants in between help break it up. J-A-I son. All right, let's see. Okay, what method did you suggest for avoiding restarting? G2P can also give phonemes, individual letters, tuber. There's no method to avoid restarting? Ah, shit. Okay. Well, okay, let's just restart then. Get it right first time. Yeah. Might as well learn to do it from scratch though. Okay, it's loading, loading, loading. Application startup complete. Restart. Try out. This is a message from JISON. Execute. Working really nicely. Okay. All right, let's listen to this.
This is a message from JISON.
It's not pausing. We need a way for it to pause though. You did give the example of VTuber, but I guess VTuber is already pretty distinct, right? The V and the T make it pretty distinct. But then GPT, Chat GPT. I guess that would, okay. The best way to approach this then would just be normalizing text, right? Abbreviations would have spaces in between them. That would be the best approach. At least that's how you approach it here. Yep. GTP can also provide phonemes for individual letters, so we can type VTuber. Yeah. Anime. So, okay. The levels would kind of go something like this. You would have normalization, so you would turn numbers into the actual numbers in terms of words, but you would also take abbreviations, split them up with spaces, and have a dictionary of preset words and what they should be translated to, right? Basically, word replacement. And then you would send that into your text-to-speech engine, which turns these graphemes into phonemes using the CMU dictionary. And then that gets sent on into the rest of the pipeline. So if instead of saying, since I don't have a method for normalizing speech right now, if I were to just instead normalize it here directly and put JAISON, hit execute, this should perform a little bit better, I'm hoping. And if we listen to this now.
This is a message from JISON. This is a message from JISON.
It's a little bit botched. What if I do JAISON? Add periods? I'll try periods in a second.
This is a message from JISON.
It just keeps skipping over them. JAISON. Excuse me. Why's my audio broken?
This is a message from JISON.
It's not much better. JAISON. It isn't good as staccatoing, I found. I might need to do some tweaking with the ratios here maybe, but I don't fucking know. There needs to be a good way for doing abbreviations though. Yeah, what if we just like, instead of typing out letter by letter, we put it like JAISON. JAISON. Copy this. Run the test script and listen.
This is a message from JISON.
JAISON.
This is a message from JISON.
JIISON. She's saying A as I. JIISON.
This is a message from JISON.
Is it fast? I don't think it's fast. Oh, there we go. J-A Ison. Oh my god, stop opening that. What happened here? My UI just broke. J-A Ison. I think this is the one.
This is a message from JAI Sun. This is a message from JAI Sun.
It's close. It's basically there.
This is a message from JAI Sun.
It's basically J-A Ison. I think that's how I pronounce it as well. J-A Ison.
This is a message from JAI Sun.
It's close enough. I'll try Razel's method. J-Ison. J-Ison. Oh, God. I keep pressing Control S. And I keep trying to save the web page. J-Ison.
This is a message from JAI Sun.
Honestly, that's the most natural sounding one.
This is a message from JAI Sun.
I don't hear the second A though, but honestly, that's fine because I feel like most people, including myself, tend to just slur it over. How do I select multiple lines and change each in VS Code again? Middle click drag or alt click. It's A instead of eh. Yeah, I think A instead of F might be better. J-A Ison. Yeah? All right. Copy this. Wait, I did run this, right? Let's just try it again. Run this. Copy outputs. And try this.
This is a message from JIAI Sun.
What is this?
This is a message from JIAI Sun.
This is a message from J-I-A-I-S-N. I-I-A-I-S-N.
This is a message from JIAI Sun.
It's way worse. It is way worse. Did I botch it up somewhere? J-A-I-I-I-S-N. There's too many Y's. Whatever. That's a proof of concept, I guess. Something that I'll, I guess, change up later on. But for now, this is good enough for a bare bones Melo server. Okay. Limits in trouble? No. You heard that? Oh my god. Okay, I'm so not used to having to mute up to call out to my parents whenever they call for me from the top of the stairs. So you're gonna have to hear that a lot in the coming future. What's the voice service called? Maybe you can just find it on the net to test it directly or something. It's MeloTTS. We legit don't care. Bro, I don't know what it sounds like on the mic. I could be yelling in your ears or something. It's MeloTTS. It runs locally. I mean, they do have... Oh shoot. They do have an online webpage for you to play around with it, but you can't change the pronunciation there. And I guess you can change the pronunciation, but it doesn't matter. This is fine. This is fine. I kind of wonder if other TTS like Piper have better pronunciation. I don't know. I haven't played around with Piper. I did play around with, what was that tiny ass TTS one called? The one that was super small, like 24 megabytes or some shit. The pronunciation for that one's pretty bad. But I guess all is well. Everything is solvable with just a little bit of text parsing to adjust how it pronounces some things. But this is okay. All right. I think, let me stop the timer. I think this is a good place to leave it off for today. I do like this new setup a little bit more because unlike before, where my only method of testing things was end to end through Discord or through Discord and stuff. Now I can actually easily test out the API through stuff like through the Open API or Redoc web pages that's built in with Fast API. This is much nicer and allows me to test things much more easily. I don't also have to deal with fucking WebSockets anymore because I honestly don't care about streaming outputs, at least on the service level. I can probably add logging per service, which will make debugging a lot simpler. And yeah, I think honestly, this is the way that I'm going to be going forward, at least for my own personal development for Project Vita. Project JEISON, I'm still contemplating whether or not I want to gut out all the abstraction, all the different services. But I think once I finally finish polishing JEISON, I'll have a better idea for the kind of requirements I need for each of the models in order to make JEISON a cohesive application that can work with any sort of model you add in the future, right? Because there is some specifications when it comes to prompting, at least for the LLM side of things, that does complicate it and make it harder to use with other locally fine-tuned models that aren't like already fine-tuned with my own prompting kind of template, right? I kind of need to make abstractions for prompting. I don't know how to fucking describe it, but it's just like the layers of abstraction is making things a little bit more complicated. But even if I were to get rid of them, it's something that I still would want to support. At the very minimum, something like the Open API, the Open AI standard, for example, right? Because it already attaches to so many other services. I mean, Fast API does have WebSockets if you still want to mess with it. Yeah, that is something that I saw as well, which is why I decided to make the switch to Fast API. I was looking through, and I keep seeing on like the Learn Python subreddit, people talk about using Fast API or comparing Fast API with Flask and other REST API libraries. And they were just like, yo, just use Fast API if you're not going to make your own from scratch or whatever. And I'm just like, is it really that good? Can it achieve all the things that I need for it? Like asynchronous function calls or fuck, what's it called? Or WebSockets. And after looking through it, it provides literally everything that I need. So I'm just thinking to myself, why the hell am I still using Flask? Why the hell am I still using Quart when this just does everything without the inclusion of a web page templater or a web page servicer? Welcome to the Fast API Club. Yeah. I'm going to stick with Fast API from now on when it comes to APIs because it's just so nice, especially having this Open API doc and the Redoc doc pages makes things so much simpler. And I can probably also reuse it inside of Project JEISON so I don't have to maintain my own Open API YAML config because like, okay, hold on. Let me pull up Project JEISON's code really quickly. I want to show you the file that I had to type up by hand. This file, I typed all of this out by hand without the use of AI to generate the doc for me. This took me like 4 hours. It was such a waste of time to do. It's nice to have, but it's such a waste of time to do when you could have just let an AI do this for you or have it automatically be generated. Because this is so structured, it's so easy to just generate it using, like Fast API generates it using Pydantic, right? I could have done the same thing. I remember doing this when I was working with JavaScript Node.js. Is there a JavaScript equivalent for Fast API where it auto-generates the REST API? I'm sure there is something, right? Maybe there's something inside of Next.js. I don't know. It feels like something that Next.js should have, or Express.js. I doubt it though, because they are on the older side. Node.js does not generate a Swagger Docs UI though. But I swear it does at least generate the API, like YAML for it. There's something for it at least. I don't know. Anyways, this is where I'm going to leave it off for today. We got good progress in with Melo. I'm probably going to continue working on this offline to polish it up a little bit and kind of fill in the holes that I have with OpenAPI and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to continue polishing this offline. And next stream, we're going to be working on the Llama CPP and Whisper CPP. So I want to kind of learn to use Llama CPP, at least Llama server. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Shouldn't be too hard. It's just a regular ass server, as well as Whisper CPP and integrating these into their own kind of services like this. Oh my God. Having this all in one file as well, so much nicer, so much nicer. But yeah, anyways, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm gonna watch the VOD and see how cursed my fucking facial expressions oh my God, are on this model. And I will see you all next week. I probably will stream a little bit more. Oh my fucking God. I probably will be streaming more than 2 times a week moving forward because it seems like, I don't know, I am getting more comfortable in this new environment and it doesn't seem like I'll be caught as easily, it seems. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your days. We'll be back next week with a week of dev and yeah, bye.